Hello, welcome to another video from Alberta Bushcrafter. This is another one, sort of the camp cooking and camp kitchen series. One of my favorite foods is, well, for the backcountry and otherwise, is dried apples. And so that's actually one of the simplest things you can do with the Dehydrator. Some of you may have seen my my video last year on the open country Dehydrator, which is actually a Nesco product. I love that thing. I'm using it a lot. Got a couple of barrels full of dried food. So let's actually have a look. First things first, it really depends on the type of apple you want to dry. And I find the golden and red delicious types, not so much. They're a little mealy and they tend to fall apart and they bruise easily. Whereas others, your Ambrosias, your Fujis, they can be quite expensive. So I actually stick with the round, green, or red hard apples. So the Spartans, the Macintosh are really good. And my favorites actually are Granny Smith. When they're in season, they're actually a decent price, and I buy them by the large bag. So let's have a look. First things first, these are not my usual apple. These are actually an Ambrosia apple I got on sale for a pretty good price. But yeah, normally I go with the Granny Smiths. But I'm going to show you here how to really quickly peel them. And it's one of the things, if you have an apple machine like this, you can get these at Lee Valley Tools. I think a store called Stokes sells them. They're all over the place. You can probably get them at layman's.com on the internet as well. But this is it. This is actually what makes this whole process go very fast. This is the apple peeler. So you've actually got an adjustable blade right here. There's 3 prongs here. And there's also this little, let's set this up. So there's also this little cutter here. It's very, very old design, but really effective. Now this is the apple. You do not have to peel it. You don't even necessarily have to take the little sticker off. What you do have to do is put it on the prongs pretty well. Make sure it's fairly centered. I usually do this over a sink now. And watch. Oh, crud. There. Now you want to go slow when it engages the blade at first. And if you feel resistance, go fairly slow too, or it won't necessarily cut too well. Okay, you see that? This is why I use Granny Smith's, because this piece broke off. This is now mine. So that was a little unexpected there, but you can see it cores it, then it actually will cut it into rings. Here's a little trick you do. Take your knife. This one's actually not that necessary, but it's, as you can see, there's a fair bit of overlap here. So I will find that spot, and look, it comes right off. These apples, by the way, are very sweet. This one, also a bit of overlap. So there's a little bit of prep involved, but now it'll lay flat. That's mine too. You can see I didn't quite get it here, but we'll do another one. So normally when it's a complete cut, I just run it through there, and off they come. Right. So what I like to do, these are not complete apple rings. Some will be. Away they go. Then it's a good idea to pre-soak them in a bit of water and lemon juice. This is 2 liters, about 2 quarts of water, along with some, it's about a tablespoon per liter or quart. Those of you who are metric, well, you should be good enough at it, you can do that math in your head. Alright, last piece, that's for me. These are actually very sweet apples. One of the things you can do with this blade as well, you can adjust it in and out to vary the degree of cut. And that's what's left. Works really well in your compost. Okay, so just for the heck of it, we will do a second one. This one also has a suction cup on the bottom. I don't normally use it because, well, it doesn't really stick to the wood too well. Oh, actually it does. No, see, there we go. Alright, so let's do another one. Certain apples work better than others. I find the ones that don't work too well are the Red Delicious, or anything that's fairly soft. And you don't want to go too fast so it doesn't skip on you. Okay, now that's better. Look at that. We're done. Whoops. There we go. Now, let's see where that is. If you can't find it, just do a snip anywhere. And here they come. I normally don't always dry the ones with the peel, but why not? Then they just slide right off into the lemon juice mixture. Do that off camera because you got to go quick. The lemon juice keeps the apple from browning too much. Now, it does not matter if you've got a few pieces here and there. Like this. This one, it's got the peel on it. That's dessert. Off comes the core. More peelings for the compost. And away you go. So I'm not going to bore you guys with the other 5 apples because, well, that'd take too long and I'm trying to keep my videos a bit shorter. So I'll show you the next step right away. Right. These are a couple of the trays for my Nesco, or open country dehydrator. And for these I'm using the Clean a Screens. So then all you do, these are quite big, which is quite good. I like them a decent size. And that's where the little bits go. And don't worry, if you have a few really small bits, it's okay to snack on them. Or you can stick them in there. That's going to be a very small dried apple. And those half pieces, in they go, like so. I find when I put these on the dehydrator, they take maybe 6 to 8 hours at 135 Fahrenheit. So there is a tray of apples ready to be dehydrated. This one is a little thick. It's going to take longer. So I might remove the others and just let that one dry. Alright, so here is the Open Country Food Dehydrator and Jerky Maker. Got to emphasize the second one. You can see I've actually got it, I'll set it down to 135. And so far we have 3 trays full of apples. Got a 4th one going. So I'll stack this up, it'll take maybe 6 to 8 hours. I am not going to record the whole dehydration process or even, fast forward it, because that would just be too boring. Besides, You don't watch these things, you just let them go and you come back in a few hours. All right, while we've got that other batch dehydrating, here's one that I prepared earlier. And actually I find that the plastic peanut butter jars are excellent for storing this stuff because it's so big and bulky. But let's have a look. That is what they look like. Let's take one. I want to seal these up again. Have a listen. They are crisp. I like to dry my apples so they're crispy. Apples are very hydrophilic. And by the way, this really concentrates the taste of the apple. You can see I'm munching on this. Drying really concentrates the taste of the apple. You can dry these pretty well to a chip. Some people like them a bit flexible. That's all right. I like these so they're really crisp so I can break them up into oatmeal for some of my do-it-yourself meals. So that's it. It'd be like fast forward 8 hours later, or maybe 10 depending on your dehydrator. Maybe less if you've got a big one. This is what you get. And these are beautiful. These you can throw them in a food saver bag. Watch out because the edges can be sharp. Throw them in a food saver bag and, you know, evacuate the bag and throw it in your pack. Great meal. These are great broken up into bigger pieces in trail mix. Excellent for crumbling down and putting it with oatmeal. But all kinds of ideas. You can take these babies and rehydrate them. They don't take long to rehydrate, maybe 10 minutes. And just top them off with boiling water and they'll plump right up again. And people have been known to make pies. I prefer the Granny Smiths because they're a little more tart taste and much. They're not as mushy. They're a lot crisper texture, so they will retain most of that when you rehydrate them. If you do a soft apple, you'll want to peel it by hand and be very careful with it. Peel it by hand and it'll have the same texture when you rehydrate it. So that's about it for dried apples. But yeah, I've got several food saver bags of these because the big trick is to go when these are on sale and spend the $5-6 and pick up a huge bag of them and then just dehydrate to your heart's content. All right, so that has been a video on how to dehydrate your own apples. There's a little more discussion here. Dehydrated apples are wonderful in the backcountry or the bush or whatever, and they're great for car camping. They're one of the most versatile dried foods around there, and there's no reason to buy this stuff in the grocery store when you can do it yourself for a fraction of the cost. I've actually paid for my dehydrator, and that's amazing because that was $99 with the amount of dried fruit and vegetables I've used over the last year. So it's paid for itself. Sorry, it's evening. I got a few bugs out here, but got a thermocell, which is, I think, one of the top 10 greatest outdoor inventions in the 21st century. So let's see. So with dried apples, you can do, what I would like to do is I like to break them up and put them in oatmeal with a bit of cinnamon, make my own, and you may have seen videos on that from me. The other thing is you can make an apple pie. I've seen people use biscuit mix and make their own apple crumble or apple cobbler. The difference between those, by the way, no one's ever really sure. As a chef that taught me, he said, if it's more dough than fruit, then it's a cobbler, and if it's more fruit than dough, it's a crumble. We just sort of name it when it comes out. Yeah, and he was serious about that. Store-bought fruit. Store-bought dried fruit. One of the things you really have to watch out with is dried fruit from the stores is either sulfured, which is apparently not very good for you. Apples are known, they use sulfur in the drying. A lot of other fruits are too. The other thing is a lot of these fruits, namely pineapple and mango, are normally candied. So what they do is they dry them part way, They soak them in a sugar syrup, dry them more. They soak them again in a sugar syrup, 3, 4, 5 times with this. And when they're done, you've got a product that is as much sugar as it is fruit. Which I guess if you need a really big energy boost, fine. But you know, a lot of people don't like that. You'll notice a difference too. If you ever dry pineapple, which I might do a video on when they come on sale, because dried pineapple is one of my favorites. Dried pineapple from the store is, you can look at it, it's candied. Dried pineapple done at home is a totally different thing. I find the taste is better. It's not nearly as chewy. Matter of fact, you can dry it almost to a chip if you cut it thin enough. It's just a marvelous thing. Same with bananas. Dried bananas are actually sugared, well, they're fried and then they're dipped in honey and then they're dried for a lot of companies. Homemade dried bananas are a totally different thing altogether. They're almost like caramel. So that'll probably give you some ideas on what I might be doing for dehydrating videos in the future. As it is, that's the end of this one. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. And this is the Alberta Bushcrafter channel. My name's Dean. Take care and good day.